fourth graders, and welcome back. I'm Mrs. Lamondo here to bring you our grammar mini lesson for today. Today we're going to talk about comparative and superlative adjectives. That sounds really complicated, but it's super easy. Adjectives tell how people, places, and things are alike or different. If you are showing how two things are being compared, it is called comparative. If you are comparing three or more things, it is called superlative. So for comparative adjectives, we just add er or the word more, depending on the adjective. So an example would be, your bat is newer than mine. We're comparing one person's bat to another. We could also say he was more successful in completing his homework. Think about what sounds right. We wouldn't say successful-er. So a lot of it is just checking in and seeing what sounds right. A superlative adjective, you add est or the word most, depending on the adjective. So examples would be, Carlos's bat is the newest of them all. That compares Carlos's bat to everybody else's. Another example would be, she was the most successful in completing all of her homework. That compares her to everyone else in class. Again, think about what sounds right. Successfulest doesn't sound right. That's a mouthful. So say it in your mind and think about what sounds grammatically correct. Let's take a look at comparatives and superlatives with this video.
Hi guys, how are you? Nice to see you again. Welcome to English Friday. I'm PWC. Hope to enjoy the class. On today's lesson, we'll be covering comparatives and superlatives. We will learn about what comparatives and superlatives are, how to properly use comparatives and superlatives, and some exceptions. However, before we start, I need you to know something. Every time you compare in English, you must always use than instead of that. For example, she is more beautiful than flowers. Going to the beach is better than going to the mountain. I prefer soda than orange juice. See? Easy peasy. Let's start now. What are comparatives and superlatives? Well, comparatives are adjectives that compare only two things. It's like comparing cartoons and TV series. How to use comparatives? First, don't forget comparatives are used only to compare two things. The clue word for comparatives is more. Add an er, which is an abbreviation of more at the end of the adjective. And if the adjective is too short, just duplicate the last letter. Then you would say something like, I was born first than my brother, so I am older than him. What you cannot say is, I am more old than him. This is not correct. It's like mixing the word more with the adjective. Let's make an example. Guess you're running against a friend, only the two of you. And then you win. So what would you say to your friend? Then you told your friend, I am faster than you, which is correct. What you cannot say is, I am more fast than you. This is not right. Well, moving on. Superlatives are adjectives that compare more than two things. Like comparing three people to see which one is the oldest, the youngest, and the tallest. How to use superlatives? First, don't forget superlatives are used to compare more than two things. The clue word for superlatives is most. Add an est, which is an abbreviation of most, at the end of the adjective. And if the adjective is too short, duplicate the last letter. Let's make an example. Now, let's suppose you're running against many friends. And then, you win. So, what would you say to your friends? Then you tell your friends, I am the fastest runner, which is correct. What you cannot say is, I am the most fast runner. This is not right. Now, we're almost done, so let's see the exceptions. First, if the adjective is too long, more than 2 syllables, then you cannot use comparatives and superlatives. For example, Spanish grammar is more difficult than English grammar, or she's wearing the most beautiful dress I've ever seen. Second, if the adjective describes an absolute state, like perfect, unique, and uniform, you cannot use comparatives and superlatives. For example, Maggie had the most perfect score at the exam. And there are some irregular adjectives that change with comparatives and superlatives. There are 5 of them, which are good, bad, far, little, and many. And here you have the comparative form and the superlative form. Well guys, my advice for you today is watch English movies with English subtitles. This is really gonna help you out.
All right, let's practice what we just saw. So complete each sentence with a comparative or superlative adjective. Some people think that baseball is the exciting sport. So we're comparing baseball to every single other sport. So that's superlative. So we're either going to add most or we're going to add est. Which one sounds right? It would sound right to say the most exciting sport. Number 2, they think it is exciting than football, even though it is not as rough. So now we're just comparing baseball to football. So it's comparative. Are we going to say more or add er? We would say more exciting. Number 3, baseball is slow than basketball, but these fans still prefer it. We're comparing baseball to basketball, so it is comparative. Are we going to add a more or an er? We would say baseball is slower than basketball. Number 4, they think that going to a baseball game is the enjoyable way to spend an afternoon. So we're comparing going to a baseball game with every other single thing you could do. It is superlative, so are we going to add most or est to enjoyable? We would say the most enjoyable. Number 5, they love to watch a player who is the strong hitter on the team. They're comparing one player to every other player on the team, so it's superlative. Are we going to add a most or an est to strong? We would say the strongest hitter. Number 6, they like to argue about which runner is fast than the other. We're comparing one runner to the other, so it's comparative. Are we going to add a more or an er? We would say which runner is faster. Number 7, they think the players in their favorite teams are the great players of all. We're comparing players to every single person to ever play the sport, so it's superlative. Are we going to say most or add est? We would say the greatest players of all. Number 8, if your team wins a game, it's a happy day than if your team loses. We're comparing one day to another, so it's comparative. Are we going to add more or er? We would say it's a happier day. Let's check out our grammar form for today, grammar lesson 18. So you're going to choose the best adjective to complete the sentence. The fish I caught is bigger, biggest than the one you caught. That is the smaller, smallest umbrella I have ever seen. She is the prettier, prettiest girl I have ever seen. My friend is more fabulous, most fabulous than yours. That building is larger, largest than the one next to it. Who has the easier, easiest job in our family? Do you think a screwdriver is more useful, most useful than a hammer? Bill was the more successful, most successful entrepreneur. All right, fourth graders, that's all for today. Until next time, see you then. Bye.